I've seen you twice in 2 weeks. That's good. That's good stuff.
Pretty lucky.
I know. Excuse me.
Yes.
Done already?
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, there's only.
Wait, make sure you put
One there and then like one in there.
so I'll probably have answer the bonus. There's Taylor, Matty Holcomb, and Riley. So basically questions about the outfield and Riley moving the outfield and moving the infield. And then there's some cookies up there though.
Oh, no, that's what you're supposed to get. No, that's what it's supposed to be. So,
They're all sitting there. Got my knees like.
Yeah, no, that's why we put it there.
Today's our 48th anniversary, so I ran that picture.
Oh, good for
Clint
you.
Edward wrote. He said that we're the Beatles. We're the Beatles in town.
Oh, let me see that picture. That's awesome. Good for you. 48 years? My gosh. Look at you. That's awesome. Congratulations. Told Becky hello. That's great. That's awesome.
Pretty lucky.
Yeah, she is pretty lucky.
You might, don't you know?
Okay. No, you don't have to start early. I'm just here, so I thought I'd come hang out.
Yeah.
What's that?
Turn your volume down.
Might as well go all the way.
Oh, the boys back there. Yeah. This isn't even my office, so this is. These guys have a nice office, don't they?
It's not my show. I'm just here making sure it all functions.
Is it functioning?
Unless it doesn't, and then I don't take any credit for it. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, we're already streaming. I've already talked to Greg. He went and started early, so it doesn't matter to me. So.
Everybody in here ready? Ready to go? Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good to see you guys. It's first scrimmage of the spring for us today, so we're excited to get outside and kind of pick up the pace a little bit here with a little less than 3 weeks. So things are good. Things are good. Happy to answer any questions you have or shed any light on anything you'd like to hear about. But nice to see you again, and thanks for going to the trouble to come up here.
How was your off season? Get to do anything good? And what's it like to be back?
Off season, yeah, it was fun. Summers are busy. Falls are great. Fun, good fall going to fall into football and developing the team through the fall, and obviously Christmas is my favorite time of year where you get a chance to just be with your family and plug into them for a month. But once we start the second semester, man, this is a race and it picks up speed. So it's been a great year, and now we're excited to launch into the spring and get ready to jump back into baseball season and kind of day to day, week to week, and work our way through it. But yeah, had a great year since we last saw you guys last year in Fayetteville.
It's not exactly warm baseball weather. Is it tough to get the guys going at first here?
We've actually had a couple of really nice days, and then we're used to the cold air, and it's necessary to get used to it, and really important to play well in it, since it's inevitable you'll play some ball games in some colder temperatures. So getting used to it, learning to block it out, getting used to the ball, feeling a little bit different in your hand when it's cold out. But at the same time, being mindful of getting our players into shape and healthy, ready for the season has also been important too. It's a bit tight window to prepare a team from whatever it was when we started school the day after Martin Luther King Day. I think we start on the 16th, right? So we have basically, a month to get the kids ready to play. And you want to do so, but at the same time, you want to get kids ready for a long season, so you can't jump into it too quick. So we've brought the guys along. I think we're in good shape. Everybody seems to be moving the right direction. And
About what you have, you obviously lost a lot of key guys from last year's team, some top performers.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what you have and how you can replace that and maybe even exceed that?
Yeah, I'm encouraged by what I've seen. Anytime your season ends like it did a year ago, you start monitoring the development of the team through the summer and how kids go out and play during summer baseball or what they do with their bodies over the summer to prepare for the upcoming year. I saw a lot of kids make good gains in that regard. And then obviously the fall, where you're with them pretty much on a daily basis, getting to know them, watching the way they bring in the new team members and guys new to the program and build relationships there and start to form chemistry or identify areas where we need to grow. So certainly saw some real positives there. We have some good leaders. We have some kids that this means a lot to them, and kids that have been in this program now for 4 and 5 years. So those kids have been certainly people we can rally around in terms of what it looks like to do things here the right way. We had a number of young players last year get involved in a positive way. Those guys are a year older. They're a year better. And then we have a number of first-year players that we're going to rely on quite heavily to jump in the mix and help us win ball games. And so, it's a everyday thing. Every day you're working to grow them, see improvement in them and in their bodies and how their bodies are getting stronger, bouncing back. Obviously, their skills, how we're catching the ball, throwing the ball, hitting the ball, that's a huge part of it. But also in their minds, how they're adjusting to this level and preparing to compete and dealing with all the things that go into being a student and an athlete at the same time, going to class and just the way they live their lives and their outlook. So all that stuff is really, really front and center right now for us as we try to get that foundation established heading into the season.
How's John Littell?
Thank you. You mentioned that you've seen some guys step up as team leaders, and I know, which you mentioned John Littell. John Littell is one of the seniors who was a key player before, and then you also mentioned some younger guys. Who do you think has stood out so far as, if there's one leader or kind of a few who are the main team leaders this season?
Well, John Littell possesses leadership qualities for sure. John's a very consistent, hardworking person. I really admire the way he goes about his business. He's very consistent, and that's a strong characteristic to have in a locker room, is consistency and work ethic. And I think John's in the best place he's ever been physically and with his swing. I think he's in a really good place. I think he's very confident right now. So I think anytime you've been through the seasons and have had glimpses and moments of really, really strong success, he knows now how to go back and recreate those, and I think he'll have a chance to have an outstanding season. Carson Teal, another kid that comes to mind, really finished last season strong, was one of the most trusted guys we had in our entire pitching staff. His outlook and energy for what we're doing is through the roof. It's contagious. And you start to see the way that impacts the guys around him on a daily basis. And those two kids off the field, how they live their lives, the example they set. I think Carson passed 18 hours this fall in the College of Business as he's attacking his graduation this spring. Just the maturity and focus of what we're here to do. We're here to play ball. We're here to go to school. We're here to be great. And when guys like that are walking examples of that, then your whole team understands what that looks like. Cade Cabanis is an amazing worker. Trevor Boone's an amazing worker. So I could go, up and down and offer a number of guys that do things each day that are qualities of leadership.
Carson had a couple of different roles for you last year. Where do you see him fitting in to start the year this year?
Well, he's certainly the most versatile, experienced pitcher we have, and I would say as we get a little closer to opening day, whether he's going to start the first or second game to open the season, or if he'll be in the bullpen to be our go-to stopper, I don't think Rob has totally made that decision as of yet, but he's going to have the ball at times when it matters the most. And you've got to have good starting pitching, there's no doubt about it, but you also have to have the ability to close games out when you do have the lead. And Carson's shown the ability to do both those things. So the next 15, 16 days, as we get the guys outside and stretch them out and get their pitch counts built up, we've gone into the season many years with some guys available in the bullpen, and then over the first 3-4 weeks, as guys get more and more stretched out and throw more and more pitches, then we start to move some guys around and try to have a rotation, a stopper, a closer, really established by that 4th or 5th week going into the conference.
I know you get asked this a lot, I'm sure, but what is the progress being made towards a new stadium?
Great progress. We've had a really aggressive position on our stadium for a long time, and it's a huge project. It's an exciting project, and we're getting very close to having, I think, the funds that the Coach Holder and administration feels necessary to make that project come to life. So really encouraged by it. Don't have any exact dates on it or anything, but that's something that he works at every single day, and really appreciate how important it is to him and the school that we have a new stadium. So we're close, and when you see what it's going to look like and the type of project it is, it's pretty magnificent. So it's not small.
Any pieces you want to give away?
No, all of it's great. I mean, it's certainly the amenities for press, the amenities for fans, the training opportunities for players, the atmosphere, all the things that go into designing something that everybody will find to be fantastic. And that was our thought process when you design something that will house your team for the next 100 years. How do you do it to where it'll stand the test of time? So we didn't cut any corners, and looking at something that would be pretty special and unique.
You feel that's the next natural progression with the program to be able to compete with those teams that are annually making it to the College World Series? Because a lot of the big factor is they do have the better facilities.
I think it can only help. I feel like we've competed awfully well with what we have. We're thankful for what we have because we certainly have more than many, and we're proud of what we have. But I think to your question, obviously, it's an important part of the continued growth of any program is commitment to facilities and the things that you can do for the athletes to attract them to your school. And the better athletes and the more advanced players that you can get inside your program, then to your point, your team has a chance year in, year out to be competing for national championships, and that's what our goal is here. So, yeah, we think it's a big part of that formula, but it's by no means any type of guarantee either. And so we know as coaches and players that every day we walk out here, we have a chance to make magic happen, independent of those types of things, and that will always be our mentality.
I think piggybacking on that, just from a broader perspective, it's been interesting listening to Mike Gundy throughout this past year and how he talks about how he's seen his program rise, but kind of beyond, just on the outside of the very elite in college football. How do you see your program? You guys have obviously made so many trips to the NCAA tournament. Do you feel like there's another step you're trying to get to?
Sure, we want to win the national championship. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're shooting to do. We're here to try to be the very best, and I think when you recognize just how stinking hard it is to do that, then what you have to accept and believe is that you can have a great season and have a wonderful program and be doing great things every single day and maybe not win the national championship, but still be winning in what your mission is, because only one team gets to win it. So I think we're winning in a lot of ways. I think we're winning on the field with record. We're winning through the things we're learning from the game itself. Last year's team we've talked about several times, lessons in perseverance and never being down and out. We learned that's for sure. The team before, took us to the brink. I mean, to be in the winner's bracket of the College World Series, we were knocking on the door to play for a championship. You just every year you want to see where can we take this? How can we grow our kids? What does that look like when the team is at its best? But we're here to win a national championship. We believe we can be the best, and we're going to work towards that every single day. When you get shots of life and energy into your program, whether it's through facilities, whether it's through whatever type of addition that you can add that keeps elevating your program, that's obviously a big deal. And as a coach, you've got to constantly look at how do we keep working for that edge, or what can we keep doing to elevate our team and our program. So I think that's a natural talking point. And what we've really tried to do is commit to teaching and developing these players at the highest level that we can possibly reach, and doing so through our ability as coaches to instruct and develop, how we feed them, how we train them, how we educate them, how we care for them. We feel like that's the one thing we can control the most until some of those other things start to happen for you.
John Littell completely healthy?
He is, yes.
Okay. And talk a little bit about your pitching staff and maybe a couple of young arms that you're excited about.
Our pitching staff is as the kids have gotten into shape here in the spring, each time you see them throw, you see nice progressions. Carson Teal comes back as a veteran pitcher. Joe Lenhart has pitched a great deal. He's a veteran pitcher. Jonathan Heasley, I think, is primed for a really good sophomore year. We saw glimpses of Jonathan last year where he really started to show that there's some special stuff in that arm, and his consistency and maturity this fall. He really grew in those areas, so I'm excited for him. Brady Basso, another kid in his second year, has shown signs of really moving the right direction. CJ Varela, a guy that last year as a freshman quietly had one of those really good, solid freshman seasons where he pitched in a lot of games and started some games. So there's a good foundation of guys back from that standpoint. There's some guys that people aren't as familiar with that I think have a chance to help us. Ben Leeper comes back off of surgery where he's missed the last couple of years. And then several first-year guys, newcomers, guys that are here that through the fall and into the early part of the spring have made nice strides, and we're going to count on those guys to help us. So, we're, again, the next 15, 17 days of inter-squad games and bullpens and things like that, we'll really work to line these guys up. Rob does as good a job as anybody in baseball of identifying the strengths of our players, figuring out ways to roll them, put them in position to be successful, establish roles that fit their mentality, and use them effectively, match them up and use them, wisely. So, but I think, probably a big chunk of this year's pitching will have a lot to do with how that sophomore class emerges. And we had a number of those guys last year get involved, and this year we need them all to step forward to go along with the others. And, probably the biggest question is just the status of Jensen Elliott, because Jensen has been an All-American caliber pitcher as a freshman. To lose him last year to Tommy John was a tough blow, and we're not exactly certain yet what his return looks like. So that's a little bit of a question for us that we don't really know. But I like the arms that we have. I think we've got a good group to work with. They're going to be extremely well coached. They'll be well positioned, and we'll have a strong strategy of how to use them.
You mentioned Jensen. How's Parker Scott doing?
Parker will miss this season as well. He had Tommy John surgery as well, so it's one of those injuries in baseball that it seems to rear its head more and more often, and it's a tough one to overcome. But guys bounce back from it. You just got to ride it out with them and stay patient. It's hard on kids to miss time. It's very, very hard on college athletes when they have to sit on the side and watch. You can just tell how badly they want to be in there, and that injury's it's a tricky one in baseball because it usually takes right around 12 months, if not a hair longer.
Obviously, something that isn't going to affect the field, hopefully, but you guys are going to be the guinea pigs for the university selling beer and whatnot. What's your stance? How do you feel that could potentially bring more revenue to the program, maybe even help with the new facility?
I don't think revenue is probably, much of a consideration. Certainly, for me or for baseball. My feeling all along has been if the administration, leadership of the school are okay with something, I know they've put the time into research to decide if it's a good thing, and they feel like it's something that we can do successfully and not take away from anybody's experience if they're not in favor of it. So I have, no reason to believe it won't be a good addition to the ballpark atmosphere. As far as what it does or what it leads to, we got some really smart people up the street that'll make those decisions and work with it. But if it's going to potentially enhance or help add to crowds or provide a new social opportunity that might increase attendance, then I think it's something that, you go to a lot of major league games in the summertime and there's 40, 50, 60,000 people there, and it doesn't seem to, really get in the way of the ability to go to a ball game and enjoy sitting there and watching a game and taking your family. So I think it can definitely be something that's successful. But beyond that, to be honest with you, haven't put much thought into it. That's not really my space much.
Who are some of the new guys that might contribute early for you?
Probably the first one on the position player side be Matt Kroon. He has a chance to be a real impact player. Matt can play third, he can play second, he can play short, but I'd like to see him, just settle in one of those spots. I think he's a really good athlete, a kid that's really on the verge of becoming a great player. I think you'll see a lot out of him. Carson McCusker could help us right away. He's a JUCO transfer, probably one of the bigger players we've ever had. He's about 6'7" and 240 pounds, so he's got a real presence to him. He's a big, lean, strong, powerful-looking kid. Jake Taylor's a freshman catcher that has a chance to help us right away. He's a really strong, advanced, mature freshman player. Christian Funk is a player that could help us early at first base, DH, really good hitter who's just kind of close to being fully recovered from ACL surgery. Blew his ACL out last year in junior college, so getting him back to 100% will be key. Max Hewitt, transfer middle infielder, gives us a really a good, tough, competitive player in the middle of the field that can play second and or short. Those kids are all in the mix to play, and they'll all get opportunities because they're good players, and we still have a lot of competition amongst our team. The line between the guy that gets his name in the lineup first and the guy that gets the chance next isn't real thick on a lot of these positions. And so it's good. It's good for competition. It's good for the way guys go about their work each day. They know they've got to be ready. They've got to be prepared. And it's a little bit of a team where we might be able to match up and use some different lineups based on who's pitching and kind of the nature of how we're going. So I like that. I think when you can have multiple guys with functional roles on a team, you can keep players going and keep guys competing and developing. And I think that's a characteristic this group has right now.
Whether it was injury or slump, had a lot of rotation in the middle infield last year. How important is it for you to get a little more stability, kind of similar to that year that you guys went to the College World Series? Because that was really the staple of that infield was those middle guys.
Well, you know, we did have some injuries there last year, but when Ryan Cash was healthy, Ryan Cash settled into being a very fine freshman second baseman. He played some good baseball and did so with quite a bit of grit and quite a bit of savvy. And I think he's healthy and has a strong chance to do that this year at second. Consistency and offensive production at shortstop is definitely something that will probably distinguish who gets most of the time there. But, you know, Donnie Walton was a 4-time All-Big 12 shortstop and one of the best shortstops in the country, and J.R. Davis was about as good a first-year transfer as you could ever find. So those guys spoiled us. They set a very high bar, and they were a lot of fun to watch, and those guys were great players. So, but Donnie wasn't Donnie as a freshman like he was as a senior. He really, really blossomed and grew and improved. And so watching players go from their freshman to their sophomore years, you want to see that same incremental growth in them as players, you know, and it's just tough when you have a 22-year-old 4-year starter that basically leads your team, and all across the country people would say, man, that's one of the best players we've seen all year, to throwing a couple of freshmen out there fresh out of Dallas area high schools. There's going to be a learning curve, and I think those kids picked up on some really valuable lessons last year that they're going to build on. So would love to have a lineup where you can pencil in the same 9 or 10 guys every single day. I remember when it was like 1988, where I think Coach Ward wrote the same lineup out every single game. Travis Law and Monty Ferris and Robin Ventura and Jim Iflin. I mean, just whatever that lineup was, it was the same the whole time. And I think 7 or 8 of those guys had 10 double-digit homers. And you know, to have a lineup like that would be great, but when you have a lineup where guys are still coming into their own, you're going to have to match them up a little bit, you know, and rest guys from time to time. You know, 155, 160-pound kids every now and then get worn out. So just growing them and watching them evolve and then being there for them to put them in position to be successful will be key. But I think those players are growing.
Boone Littell. Go ahead.
You mentioned Ryan Cash as one of the standouts in the infield from last season. Since his freshman debut, kind of specifically focusing on him, how much have you seen him grow since last season?
Well, Ryan's he's a very intelligent player. He's very mindful of everything he does. He works with great intent. So he never takes a repetition where he's not working at game speed or he's not playing the game in the right frame of mind. And usually guys like that, you appreciate them the most when the games start. Those characteristics show the brightest when the games are going on. Sometimes in practice you don't have as many moving parts, but when the games start and a guy makes a heady play, or he's always in the right spot, or he's always making those small, subtle in-game adjustments that are so important, I think that's where Ryan's strengths lie. And I think they also lie in that he's a gamer. He knows how to dial it up for 4 hours every single time we've got a ball game and compete. So his intangibles, I think, are what make him such a unique player. He's definitely stronger. He went out in the summertime and played in California and played great, and banged up his shoulder a little bit and didn't say anything and kept playing and missed a little bit of the fall. But I think he's healthier and stronger and confident, and those are all good ingredients.
Boone all got time in the corner spots last year. Any of those guys a center fielder?
Yeah, we'll give Trevor first dibs at center field. He can go get the ball. He has good closing speed on the ball. He's got a tremendous throwing arm. He's got a very high motor. He revs hard, man. He goes hard, plays hard, and has a fearlessness in center field that you want, where a guy's going to go make plays gap to gap and leave his feet when he has to. So I like Trevor in center field. Cade has a traditional right field arm where he can shut down teams going first to third or trying to score. And Johnny, I think, is just a very sure-handed, very skilled, fundamentally sound left fielder as well, who's played right. So those guys are all good defenders, and McCusker's a good defender too. Even though he's a really big guy, he moves good and throws good. And then we have 2 young freshman players that have really good foot speed out there that give us the kind of more of that raw speed look if we wanted to put somebody in there that can really, really take off. So we've got some options.
You brought in a couple of guys last year that had missed their senior year because of injury. You already mentioned Leeper and Elliott. Some of these guys are coming back to count on, but there's a couple other guys you introduced in the banquet coming off double ACL tears.
Is there any rhyme or reason to that? That you're taking some chances on kids you did last year and again this year that are coming off major surgeries?
Well, unfortunately for some of the kids, and these injuries happened after they'd signed here and after they'd committed here. And, you know, as a coach, when the relationship you have with players and their families, and you start developing that and recruiting them, and then all of a sudden they suffer a major setback in their career or a major injury, it's pretty hard to abandon them. It's just tough. You know, that's a time when I feel like they need you the most, to believe that they're going to heal and to stay alongside them and ride it out, you know. And so you try to be, you try to stay right there with them through those tough times when they're hurt and get them back healthy. We've had a nasty run of it as of late that I'm not ever experienced it, but it's hard to, you know, it'd be hard to change direction and cut ties with the kid just because he gets hurt. And because we do start this recruiting process now so young, we're navigating 24 to 36 months with them many times before they ever get to us. And so that's been tough, but we'll stay by these kids. I think what can happen is they'll appreciate the fact that you still believe in them. They'll get on the other side of these injuries, and I think what you have a chance to do is have a very motivated, loyal player in return. But we've certainly had our fair share of it lately, and I don't have an answer for you other than maybe we've had just a little bad run of luck right there.
Where do Colin Simpson and Michael Newsifter fit defensively?
Well, Colin's going to catch, and Michael's taken a lot of repetitions at third base and a lot of repetitions at first base. And, you know, we could even put Colin in the outfield a little bit to spell him and rest his legs. He's a very, very good athlete, despite being really powerfully built. He moves good. He's just a really strong, athletic kid. And so we could put him out in left field a little bit if we wanted to rest his legs from behind the plate, but keep him on the field. So, but Michael's taken a lot of reps at third and first base this year.
Going off the injury thing, can you talk about Tanner Griffin, what he's been through and how he's doing?
Yeah, Tanner had a tough run. That's one of the young men that Rex is speaking on. He had 2 labrum surgeries, one on his left shoulder, one on his right shoulder, and just injuries that had accumulated over, 3 or 4 years of high school football and high school baseball. And I think it tells you probably his pain tolerance and toughness are through the roof to play through that. But when he got to the end of his high school senior year of football, and he took a couple weeks off like everyone does, and he started to begin training for baseball, something didn't feel right. And when he went to start throwing and hitting, he noticed that neither his left nor his right shoulder were cooperating, and ended up needing to have his labrum fixed in both left and right shoulder. So within the span of a month, he went under the knife for both surgeries. And one surgery is tough, but 2, it's really tough, So he's just working his way back to health and trying to get that body to get back to, kind of where it was before the surgery.
Andrew Rosa's in year 5 in the program. Where does he fit in on this team?
Great. It's awesome to see a 23-year-old. It's like having another grown-up on the team. He's just such a different kid now, and just the things that are important to him in life and the way he goes about his business, the way he influences the other kids. And he's been so much fun to be a part of his life for 5 years. And his role on the team, we need Andrew to have his best year yet. I've told him that countless times, and I think he can do that. He's got a lot of experience. He's versatile. He can play first base. He can play second base. He can play the outfield. He's had some big hits for us. He's a good base runner. But he's a kid that's all in emotionally towards what we're trying to do here. And that much about him I appreciate, and I'm just real proud of him. He's really turned into a standout kid.
How do you see the conference this year? Obviously a great year last year.
Yeah, I think it's exceptional. Really, really exceptional. I think there's a couple teams in it that, are built to contend for a national championship. If you look at the age of their team, the maturity of some of their key players and key spots, I think Texas Tech has a championship caliber team. When you look at how strong their starting pitching is and how many players return, they're an incredibly experienced team. TCU's excellent. I think West Virginia, Oklahoma, Baylor, Texas, all really strong quality rosters. So, and there's never been a game against Kansas or Kansas State that's ever been easy. Not since I've ever been here. Those teams compete. So, a lot of good teams, a lot of good ball clubs, and high-end individual players. And I think the coaching and commitment to baseball across our conference in the last 5 years has grown exponentially. I mean, everywhere we go, we see it. You know, you go to this place, like, wow, that's really nice. Look what they've done. And you go to this place. So you keep seeing that schools value baseball, and there's some really good teams.
Starting the season, what do you expect from the road stand against Texas State?
Get on a bus Wednesday night, drive halfway, find a nice steakhouse, ride the rest of the way in, and just be proud to put on some new gray uniforms and start this over again. I mean, just excited to see, you know, we had our banquet a couple nights ago, and I had a pretty simple message for the kids. I'm excited to see what we're capable of doing. I'm fascinated to see what it looks like when we get it right, and I can't wait to see who creates new moments and who emerges and has a great season. That's why you play these college seasons, and that's why, as a coach, you love coming here every day to help them figure out how great they can be. And some days we get it right, some days we don't, but we get a chance to do it each and every day all over again, and that's the fun part. And so sharing that with the kids is what I look forward to the most.
You mentioned you talked about the Big 12 schedule, but looking at the non-conference games, who do you think will be some of the toughest non-conference opponents and why?
All of them. And I mean that because we have a lot of road games. Road games are always a challenge. We have a lot of guys that I think will be having some of their first moments in our uniform. And so the opponent isn't as much the issue as it's just us ourselves learning how to play together and win. Obviously, there's some big name opponents on there. I think the trip to Arizona State would probably stand out as a Power 5 school, and I put that series on the schedule for a reason. I want our team to go on the road to a place that sounds really, really good, so that when we do get launched in our conference play and you're going on the road to play at places that are tough to win, you've already been in that environment. And so I like going to do that. But I think all the games, Texas State's a great way to start. At Arizona State's a great way to start. And then we go to Iowa late in the year in an open weekend, and I was told that Iowa has the best team they've ever had in school history. So we picked a great year to go to Iowa. But I think it's going to be a great challenge for us. And you know, our midweek games against teams like ORU and Wichita State and Dallas Baptist, and you know, we play the extra game against OU. So every Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to be playing really good baseball.
How big was that Big 12 tournament title for momentum coming into this year?
Huge. It was huge. Huge for the momentum you spoke on, huge for that group of kids, and just huge period. Winning a tournament's hard. I think we'd won one other tournament since, what, 97? So the tournament had been in existence for 19 years. We'd won it one time. Those are hard to win, and it was a heck of a tournament when you look at how good the teams were. Add to the fact that that was our only avenue to extend our season, and that meant even more. But probably what meant the most was just the joy that we felt afterwards. That was just such an amazing experience to share with our kids. And then we did it in front of, I think, 10,000 Oklahoma State fans that afternoon. That was an awesome moment. You know, it's a moment that's going to go up on one of these walls because it's significant.
That's interesting, though, because a lot of coaches will just say, new season, clean slate, don't talk about that. But you can still use that.
I mean, we did it. It's part of all of us. You know, it's part of this group. You know, not all of us, but it's something that inside our group, our kids can learn from our moments. I mean, that's a product of this program. You know, that was earned by the people in this uniform, and it's part of our DNA. And yeah, does it carry any weight into the season? Well, I mean, it's not going to give us a point on the scoreboard, but it's part of how we felt when we left here, and how we felt about coming back and getting started on a new year. And it confirmed for our players that you got to stick with this thing. You know, no one said it was going to be easy. So I just think those experiences are part of learning, and learning is a good thing. You know, whether do we sit around and talk about it or dwell on it? No, I mean, we don't sit around and, hey, remember last year we did that. But at the same time, somewhere in those moments during that tournament, we learn things that we can use moving forward.
You mentioned facing Iowa. You guys have always had a Big Ten team on the schedule. I know other Big 12 coaches have said SEC needs to give us a chance. Are you one of those guys that would like to get an opportunity to have an SEC program play you guys in a?
I'm not infatuated with the SEC, and I don't need to play those schools to feel like we're legitimate. we play the best Power 5 school that's open every weekend. So like that late in the season, the SEC, once they enter conference play, they play a continual 10-week schedule with no breaks. When we enter conference play, we have those 2 off weeks, right? So when our breaks occur, we've got to either grab a series with the Pac-12, which we'll do next year with Oregon, or 2 years from now, we'll do Oregon State at home, and the next year, Oregon State on the road. This year, it's Iowa on the road. Next year, it's Iowa here. You grab the best, toughest games that are open on the weekend that you're off from your conference, and whether it's an ACC, SEC, to me, I coached in the SEC for 3 years. I don't sit around wondering if it's just different than what we do. I have respect for it, but trust me, when you play the quality schedule that we play week in, week out, our kids, they can go line up and play anywhere, but we'll play anybody. We just want to play good baseball. We'd love to play any school in a good environment. We went to North Carolina 2 years ago for that opening series and got swept, and that was great. It was great for us because we saw a great opponent. We lost 3 one-run games, and from there we grew as a team because we challenged them. So I don't really care what league they're from if we can just play really high-end baseball and challenge our team. And I love to bring names to our facility that our fans want to see, because then we can get good crowds and people get up for the game. So I think it's more about targeting high quality, challenge your team, right? Try to build to where when people look at the schedule, they go, oh, that's going to be a great series, and they want to come out.
And this season, several of the games I know are going to be, several of the Big 12 ones will be broadcast on TV, on FS1 or ESPN channels like that. What do you think, just in general, having those games on TV does for the national exposure of baseball and kind of gets college baseball out there for more people to watch?
It's great because it lets kids' families watch them who maybe couldn't get here. If you're a baseball fan, it's fun to go home at night and see those games running. You pop on the TV and see what the West Coast teams look like, or see who's having a good season down south. I think college baseball is growing in popularity, which is great. It's becoming more of a sport now where we're unique. Our sport's unique because kids can either sign pro out of high school or go to college. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think basketball you have to go for at least a year, right? Or go to Lithuania. So we want to get the really good college-bound baseball players to get to college. And I think when they see the product of college baseball is high quality, they see it on television, they see it growing in fan appeal, then that player that's trying to weigh his options of signing out of high school and going right into the minor leagues or coming to college, he sees an environment and college baseball growing in a way where he says, that looks like a lot of fun. I'd rather go spend 3 years playing in that environment, playing in a first-class facility, playing on television, and kind of being part of a big stage, so to speak, versus maybe going into rookie ball and some of the lower levels of minor league baseball, which can be a little less glamorous. So the growth of college baseball is great, and it's great because it can be a great family-oriented sport, and I think it opens up, just a whole new opportunity for us, certainly here, to grow OSU baseball into something even better.
Pro out of high school was John Littell, but talk about his career for a second, what he's been to this program during his time here.
About John? Well, like I told you earlier, he's remarkably consistent, and I appreciate that about him a lot. He's always the same kid. He comes every day, and he works, and he's fun. He's engaging. He's a great relationship with him. It's just been a pleasure to be part of his life, and he's had some really good moments, and I'm just looking for him to put it all together and relax and be confident what he can do and go out and have his best season. And there's no reason why he won't do that. He's in a confident frame of mind right now. He's swinging the bat better than he ever has. I've never seen him swing the bat this good. And so just watching guys grow, he's a 4-year college player. He's a senior. I was a 4-year college player. I think back to my senior year and the difference in my mindset versus when I got here. And I just think I think you're a lot more fearless because you realize now that I play baseball because I love it, not because I'm trying to impress anyone or live up to anyone else's expectations. And yet as a young player, you always feel that. And then you leave here, you want to leave here proud of what you did while you were a player here. And I know that's how he feels. And normally you become pretty selfless and you become a great leader and you usually play your best. So I think he's been a an all-star kid. He's done great in school, and just really grateful he chose to come play for us.
How hampered do you think he was by that injury in the second half of last year?
Very hampered. He was hurt. He was playing on guts, and you appreciate that in your players for sure. But he was, he had his shoulder reconstructed last summer, and he feels great now. So just a kid that was trying to gut it out for his team, that wanted to be on the field, trying to do his part, and he was sore and limited in strength and some flexibility. But, he got cleaned up this summer and feels great.
Don't want to cut y'all off, but we'll get some players before practice. We can probably do that.
Okay. Well, thank you, guys. Nice to see everybody.
Welcome. We'll have baseball guys out kind of on the field a little bit. 4 or 5 of them. Good. I think Kenny's coming in here now. So.
You stick around this year or no?
Say what?
Remember last year you stuck around? I did last year. For Kenny I did too. Oh, you did stick around? Dave Dog sticking around. Yeah, got to.
Try to get another comment.
Anybody else heading out? Okay. We're going to start. Yeah, got head coach Kenny Gajewski entering his 3rd season.
All right. First of all, thanks for having us. Excited to get another year kicked off here. Feel like this is probably our most talented team, without a doubt. We've got talent up and down this roster. We've got experience. We've got youth. We've got a culture that just continues to change, and I think that's probably the most exciting thing for me as we start our 3rd season. We've had a couple of nice years as we build, and I think we could call those some building blocks on where we want to be, but we're nowhere close yet to that goal and what we have as expectations for us. So just really excited to get started. I think we're as far along at this time of year as we've been. We've kind of changed up our practice schedules with more intra-squad games and that kind of stuff, and so I just feel like we're in a better place to start. Part of that, our schedule. If you've seen our schedule, I believe it'll be a top 5 schedule in the country, and I just felt like that this team needs to play, needs to be ready to play from day one with the quality teams that we're going to have. So again, I've got some changes in the lineup, got some changes for positions with certain kids. Shippy's going to now go to 3rd base. She's caught the last 2 years. As selfless of a player as I think I've ever been around to volunteer to catch when this team needed her, this program needed her. And when your best player, maybe one of the best players that's ever played here, is willing to make those kind of changes for the betterment of us, I think it tells you enough about her. So she's going to be playing at 3rd. We're going to move Riley Bayless to left field. We've got a fight at catcher. And other than that, I mean, it's really we're returning a lot of the same kids. So excited about that. Excited about some young kids. Sydney Pennington would be one. Just a special talent. Maybe as talented of kid as you'll see anywhere in the country. Finally playing softball full time, not playing other sports as she did in high school. She's the first time she's playing softball full time, and she just continues to get better each day. Most power I've ever seen. I've coached a lot of big time kids, a lot of been around a lot of big time kids. I've never seen a kid with this type of power. And I'll put that in baseball too. I've coached some pretty good, or been around some pretty good baseball kids, and this power is wacky. It's just different. One of the best arms I've ever seen. She's a shortstop by nature. She's been in a dogfight with O'Donnell all fall long. I just feel right now that O'Donnell gives me a sense of peace at short that I don't think I'm willing to give up yet. And Randy's done nothing to lose her job. She's kept her job, and under a lot of pressure, because Sydney's a highly touted kid, and she's known this. She's known that she's coming, and I'm proud of her because she's stepped up and done what she's got to do to keep her job. So Pennington, at this point, you could see her catch. You could see her at first. You could see her DP. She's going to play. She's going to play from day one. She's probably going to hit fourth. A lot of pressure on her, but the one thing we've always said, we're not afraid to play young kids here. I think when they're young, they really don't know what's at stake yet, and so I feel like that we've got her in the right spot. We've got another young kid in Michaela Richburg. She's a kid from Broken Bow, tiny town, tiny school. Played almost no travel ball, which in our game is the main deal. And this kid is as tough as I've been around. She's as tough of a kid as we've got in our program right now. Powerful, gonna play first base, gonna DP. She will play. She will play a bunch. Brighton Gilbert's another freshman who's just continues to really get better each day. Her fall was a little bit rough. She's a middle infielder, highly touted kid. Was committed to a different school when we got here, and we're able to with the changes I think she saw here, she liked, so was able to make that change. So that was nice. She had a rough fall, but I think the winter break really helped her just to kind of get home and get everything back into her normal state. And when she came back, I was like, whoa, this kid has changed. And so really good kid, can really run, hits from the left side. Will be exciting to watch her. So on the pitching part, I think I'm excited. I mean, this is as excited as I've been about a staff here. We've got 5 kids. We're going to be led by 2 transfers. One is Sam Clakeley. She's from UTA. I don't know if my numbers are right. She either won 25 or 28 games last year there. I don't care where you're at. That's a big deal. And I know this. Our girls don't like to face her, so that'll tell you enough there. She's really good, really devastating changeup, a drop curve that's really tough. She's not a physically big kid. She's shorter, but we like to use the term, she's jacked. I mean, she is strong. I mean, she looks like an athlete. It's a thoroughbred. Just not real tall, but the ball comes out hot, and she just gets a lot of outs. The other kid that's transferred in here that I think will make a big impact is Emmy Robertson. Emmy's from Pitt State. I'm sure John has all her stuff, but she's I think a 2-time All-American there, player of the year in her conference, and regional type player of the year, and I'm sure she's got all kinds of stuff. She's a kid that's not overpowering, but knows how to pitch, works fast. I know our girls love to play behind her because of the speed at which she works. Rise ball, pitches inside. She's a kid that if she's working in the river and that kind of stuff, she'll be a tough kid for other teams to hit. If she misses in the middle of home plate, she'll be in trouble. So she knows that. We've been working on that, but it's had a great fall. So excited to watch her. The biggest surprise in my mind this whole fall, really this whole year, has been Whitney Whitehorn. Finally healthy in her brain. I think she's finally mentally she's healthy. Emotionally she's healthy. She's been really pain-free off of both of her hips now for 2 years, but I think there's always that little thought in your mind that something may go wrong. She's had nothing but problems here. Last year, though, was really the first year that she was free of that. And I think her summer was huge. We have a new strength coach in West Ulm here from the University of Florida, where I came from, and I think he's convinced her that she's good, she's healthy, and the body's changed, the strength has changed, her velo's going way up. So it's been a fun fall to watch her. She's also killing it with her bat. So she's going to hit. She's going to pitch. She's going to hit. So it'll be an exciting deal for her. This will be her last year, even though she has one more year to play. She's decided that this is going to be it. I think her body is just taking a toll, and it's just tough. So we're going to try to make it the best one that we can and get her out of here on a high. So then you've got Simonek, who actually, I mean, came off a great year. First year, rise ball kid, spinny, balls jumping. She's just got to control things. If she can just eliminate walks and hit by pitches, she will pitch a ton. If she's not, it's going to be tough. She knows that. We've had these talks. Her stuff is nasty. A lot of our girls hate to hit her, but she puts herself in some tough spots because of the hit by pitches, the walks, and we've got to eliminate that. There really is no defense for that, and she knows that. So we're working on that. She's getting better, though. I'm excited about her work ethic and the way she's making the commitment to being really good. And then the last one is Kendall Judge. Kendall's a transfer from Minnesota. Didn't pitch a lot last year. She's another kid that was a highly recruited kid and just had a bad experience. And you know, there's two sides to every story. I know that. She knows that. She's happy here. She's working hard. She's been fighting some injury stuff here. She's finally, I think, healthy and is going to have a chance. So what I like on this staff is that we've got 5 kids with different looks. They're different. They're all different for sure. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for Coach Cottrell and myself is managing this staff right. I'm really happy with how Jeff has stepped in here and our staff. I mean, they are 100% behind him, getting better. I mean, we're not a big mechanical group either on offense. We're not a big mechanical group with these kids here in the circle. We're just talking about getting outs, competing, throwing inside. You know, if you're going to hit somebody, then just get them. But let's not miss on change-ups. You know what I mean? Let's not miss on rise balls. Let's get after kids. Let's make them respect us. So his mentality's been great, and I really have liked the way our fall went and the way it's going since we've been back. So it's a little bit about our team. The schedule's just lined with the who's who in college softball. We're going to go to Tempe to start, play some top teams. We're going to go to Clearwater the next week, play some top teams. We're going to go to Palm Springs, play top teams. Then we're back here for 2 tourneys here, and then on our off conference weekend, we're going to go see how we match up against one of the best teams that's ever played, and that's UCLA. So I've been very open and honest. I want to play great teams. I want to challenge us. I'm not caught up in our win-loss. I'm caught up in the RPI. I'm caught up in being ready to play at the very end. I think as a coach, you kind of look at your schedule like this time of year and go, what are we trying to do here? I mean, it looks like it doesn't look fun, but I know that at the end of each year, we look back and go, I'm glad we played that schedule. So very happy about that. We've got our banquet that's coming up this Saturday. And I think one of the coolest things is who we're bringing back, and that's Coach Sandy Fisher. Obviously, she's the lady who got this program to where it's at. You know, she's a tough nut. I can tell you that. Like, she's been really hard on me when I got to this job. I know she wasn't totally thrilled. But I've worked my butt off to get her back here, and we finally got her back here, and she's excited. I talk to her a lot now, but the first couple months was tough. You know what I mean? She was very honest and open, and I appreciate that, but she's excited here. We're going to honor her and let her speak, and can't wait to have her talk to our team, to our alumni, to our fans. I think it's going to be an awesome thing. So we've got some things in store for her. So that's Saturday. And then we've just got a lot of other things that have gone on. You know, we just unveiled a new locker room courtesy of the Greenwoods. Mike and Dan, just an awesome deal. Our kids, they deserve it. They appreciate it. I think that's one of the coolest things that coaching the female athlete, the student athlete. I think I was telling somebody this here today. I think the coolest thing about coaching this team and these kids is they're so appreciative of what they get and what this program gives back and what this school and this department gives. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I enjoy and why I do what I do. So other than that, just open it up to questions.
Coach, you mentioned Sydney can play a lot of different positions. Do you see her as somebody like Vanessa that if you move around 3 or 4 years here, do you see her as she goes somewhere, say catcher, you're gonna keep her there?
Yeah, she's a shortstop. Okay. So I just gotta either unfairly or fairly to her, I've gotta just get her in the lineup somehow. And until she can fully grasp our defense and our calls and that kind of stuff that we take so much pride in, I'm just not ready to play her there yet. With Randy, I just have this comfort. I can go to bed at night and knowing that we're going to be in the right spots, that we're going to make the right calls. And is she going to be air free? No, nobody is. But I know that in my heart, I can go to bed at night. And Sydney's close, but Randy, there's something about a senior that has really worked hard. She's worked hard to improve her offense. I've tried to convince her that I'm not caught up in her offense. I'm caught up in what she does on our dirt. And so if I can keep her in that frame of mind, she'll have a great year. She'll have a great year. So Sydney's a kid that I got to get her bat in there. And she's going to fail some too, you know. I mean, it's going to be ugly at times, you know, I think, but I just think there's so much upside for her. I mean, she's a kid, like, guys, when we're practicing, our team stops. When she hits, they stop. Everybody stops. And when you have that, you just gotta let it roll. So we're excited.
Have you ever seen a kid come in like that as a freshman and be able to hit that way?
You know, yes and no. I mean, what Sydney does when she walks in, she has a smile that is ear to ear, so the whole room just lights up. And I don't think she has one person on her team that doesn't respect her for what she is off our field, what she is in the classroom, her work ethic. She's never come in here. She's a highly touted kid. She's a kid who's never. She's just sat right behind Rue the whole time and just listened and soaked up all this stuff. Never tried to challenge her, never tried to embarrass her, never tried to do anything but just learn. So when you have a kid like this, you just go. And I've been around some good kids. You know, I was around the Kelsey Stewart kid that's on the national team. She was a immediate impact kid. I mean, she hit one for us every year there. But you know, it's a different type of kid. This is power. This is scary. Like when she's up, people, I mean, you'll see me way back at third base because I don't want my teeth bashed in. I mean, the balls, it comes at you. So I've been around some special kids. This is one of those kids.
Coach, congratulations on your extension. How big was that for you personally, but also in terms of the program being able to go forward?
Yeah, this is kind of awkward. I mean, you know, for a softball coach, I mean, you don't usually hear about our contracts, you know what I mean? And so when all this I signed that back in the summertime, or I guess I got it signed here recently, but we got all that stuff done when the season was done. And I'm appreciative of Coach Holder because I had a year left, and he called me and wanted to do a talk. And so I was thrilled. You know, I've been around enough with different jobs and did different schools that I really, to be honest, I mean, I'm sure you hear this from every coach. Like I don't think about that kind of stuff. I really don't. I was shocked the day he called me. So, and I was thrilled when I walked out, and maybe I'm an idiot too. I just said, yeah, I'll take it. It's great. You know what I mean? It's awesome. You know what I mean? I kind of did this too, guys. I mean, when I got this job, I was so pumped. My coach Walton asked me, goes, so did you get 5 years? And I said, yep. And I didn't even know I didn't even know how many years. I didn't even ask. I just wanted this job. And so that's been my way here. I'm excited. I'm excited for anybody that was worried about that. I'm not going anywhere. I love this place. I love OSU. I love Coach Holder. I love my administrator, Jesse Martin, with Chad here now. It's just, I mean, this is a pretty impressive team that we've got. And that's just the tip there. I mean, we've got a whole group here that's just unreal, but I'm supported here. That's the bottom line. They've always tried to do anything that we've asked within reason, and the only way that you're ever going to get anything done is to ask. We have the ability here to fundraise to help us, which is different than a lot of schools I've ever been to. So that's been a challenge and a growth for me, and not a challenge in a bad way, but just learning how to do that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is just building relationships like I do in recruiting or with my team and with our friends. You know, I mean, it's the same thing. So I'm excited. I think for some folks it gives them some peace of mind, but you know, the bottom line here is just we just got to continue to get better, and all that stuff will take care of itself. I'm happy that I have the chance to be the coach here.
So just got a lot of girls from Oklahoma on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about just the state of softball in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's a big time. I mean, you know, when you look at this, we talk about this a lot. When you look at across the nation, I would say that Oklahoma is probably the 5th or 6th best state. You know, you'd put California 1. It's California, then everybody else. Then you kind of go Florida, Texas, Georgia, 2, 3, 4. You could mix those up in any year. Texas has really improved. Georgia's really improved. A lot of resources really going into those states for travel ball and facilities and that kind of stuff. So that's been great. And then you maybe look at Arizona, Oklahoma. It would be your next ones. You know, I mean, really, to be honest. And we continue to pump out big time D1 kids. We can't get them all. We're gonna miss on some. I think the biggest thing I wanted to do when I came here was I wanted to force some other schools around here to not feel like they could just get those kids for free, to be very honest. I was gonna, if you want them, you're gonna pay for them. And so that's been my deal from day one. I've been very clear that I'm gonna work from the inside out. We're gonna start here and we're gonna go outside. There's no way I can, I think it'd be hard to field a complete team here. But I'm gonna get at least half or more, and I think we've showed that. And we're getting the better kids. We're winning battles here that I don't think that people thought we could win. I mean, we're flipping kids that are born and raised red, and they're wearing orange, and that's the bottom line. And that's what we're gonna do. You know, we're gonna still go out and cherry pick kids from the West Coast and the East Coast, and we continue to commit those kids. But I want to be here. I think it's important. I think that's what this school has always been built on, and I think I have a little bit of that history because of my previous history. I know that. I've watched it. I know the kind of chip that you got to have on your shoulder here, and those are the type of kids that I'm trying to find. Not just good softball kids, but good people off the field too, and good families. And I don't care how you were raised, what team you were maybe forced to cheer for. The bottom line is you either want to be a part of this or you don't. And my message is clear. It's honest. It's truthful. It's sincere, and it's been good. When the reception around here has been great, and with the travel ball and the high school, but the caliber of softball here is really good. There's a lot of good players here. There's a lot of good baseball kids here too. I think that goes. I don't know if enough people actually know that, but you look around, how many kids are drafted out of this state every year. It's crazy. So I know that this is a great state. It's why I felt like I could leave my other job to come here, because I felt like this is a job that we could be at forever and we could win at. And those are important things in my mind.
Alex Jones is from Enid, Oklahoma, and I got to watch her grow up playing softball. How did she get on your staff?
Kind of an interesting story. I had a travel ball coach out of Kansas call me and say, hey, there's this kid that you need to get onto your staff, as a volunteer. She wants to coach. And so I started doing some research and got her number and called her up. And she was doing some other stuff, coaching a travel ball team, and started researching her. And, she's an Enid kid, wanted to come to OSU her whole life. Didn't get the chance. KU saw her talent. Pitcher, outfielder, runner, hitter, could do it all. Baffles me that she didn't even get a chance here, but it's the way it is. I mean, it just happens. It's life. I mean, I'm sure there's kids that people say that, how did OSU not give that kid a chance? That happens. But the family's first class. The kid is first class. She's not a kid. She's a young woman now, but really helped us out a ton. She works a full-time job and also coaches. And I put a lot on her. So she's working 2 full-time jobs. Coaching our outfielders, doing a great job there. Gives me a lot of insight with the slap game. I know she talks to Coach Jeff at times about the pitchers and what she sees. So she's a great kid. I don't think we're going to have her past this year here. She's got some really good things in her personal life that are probably going to happen here soon. So it's probably going to take her out of here. But I'm glad that we've got her at this point. And then if we can keep her more, then great.
She's a winner.
Yeah, thank you.
How important is scheduling to recruiting? I know you have the big tournaments at the beginning of the year, but having the tournament at Oklahoma City this year and getting big names here at Calgary Stadium, how important is that?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, I think any kid wants to play a good schedule. They want to be on TV. And if you've seen our schedule, we're on TV a ton. We'll continue to be on that a lot. And our brand is growing. Our brand is growing. I mean, we go out to Palm Springs, and we're one of the few teams that they select by ESPN to do their, I don't know what you call it, that they do their like preseason stuff. So they do all the question and answer stuff with Amanda Scarborough and Jessica Mendoza and all that kind of stuff. They do all that stuff now. So when you get to postseason, they already have all that stuff done. It's a big deal. So last year was the first time that we got to do that. And for our kids, it's a big deal. So we'll get to go back there, and I would assume we do it again. It's part of what I expect, to tell you the truth. I mean, I was pissed the first year when we didn't, because I in my heart, I know where we're going to be. So it just takes time, you know what I mean? But the schedule is a big deal for all of these kids because they want to play on TV. They want to play against the best. If you want to be on the national team, or if you want to be an All-American, your numbers matter against top teams. You know, when I vote on that stuff at the very end, I get the stats against top 50 and 50 and above. And if you're 50 and above is where all your numbers are, I scratch you. So I want you to be. You need to be. If I'm going to vote, I'm going to vote for 50 and down. You know, I mean, I want to see what you do against the best teams. So it's important, and we've had that stuff. We've had all Americans, all region kids, all conference kids, and I think it's because of the schedule. And you talk to any of our kids, they want to play the best teams.
You've been trying to expand the fan experience in the stadium, new places for the fans to stand and whatnot. Is there anything new this year, or what's the next step you'd like to make with the stadium?
Okay, can I talk about it? Yeah, I'm going to. I don't care. Yeah, I'm over it. This year we're gonna have beer, so which is kind of an interesting thing. You know, they're doing a lot of work now to see how it's gonna play out. But I think baseball and softball are the guinea pigs, I guess, if you will. I think it's gonna be exciting. I think that will enhance for those people that want that. It's gonna be there. I'll be very honest. I'm very conscious about people that don't drink, and I don't want it to be a negative deal here at all. I want it to be part of the experience for those people that want that. It's going to be down the first baseline. They've already opened up our fence and baseball's fence, so now there's going to be that whole area for fans to enjoy. We've changed our bullpen where that's now enclosed, so they should be free of that. But I've seen some drawings of things, and I'm like, whoa, this is going to be cool. And so that's one of those things. You know, last year we opened up that first base fence line so people could see through and stand. You know, if anybody wants to drive their truck up against our back fence, I don't care unless they tell you to no, or they tell you no. The paddle people want to come out again, I'm ready. We'd like to have you guys at any time. I want it all, and I mean, I want to enjoy. This program is on the right rise, the right direction, and I've got some great kids that work their tails off and that want any support that we can get. And so we're just going to continue all that. We're trying to make the in-game stuff a little bit better. We're working our tails off, you know, to raise money for a scoreboard, because that will really enhance that as well. That stuff's coming. You know what I mean? It's all coming. I just want it today, like every coach. So, I think we've got a really good brand. I think the bottom line is our softball brand is good. Our team is good. The games are fast. They're clean. Our kids look good. They play hard. They smile. And if you're a fan of OSU, I don't know what more that you would want. And I know you want us. We know the bottom line is to win games, but in my mind, there's a lot more to that. And if you're doing things right, the winning just takes care of itself. So the experience will continue to be good and grow.
I think about 5 years ago when they hosted a postseason here, they put in removable bleachers over that left field wall. Is there hope to make maybe a permanent fixture out there at some point in the future?
Yeah, you know, we've got a lot of stuff that's going on. We're in the process now. We're gonna need, or we're working on a new surface first. So what's going to happen is once we get the surface done, then it's going to dictate what the fence does. I think the fence is going to have to come up like 2.5 feet, because right now the way the field was built, it slopes down. It's kind of an old way to build a field. It's doesn't really work. But Josh has the same problem here. You know, I mean, we've got the best ground crew that do everything that they can with. Sometimes their hands are tied, and you know, when you come out to our field or this field and you look at these things, they look like the best services that you've ever seen. But they really, if we get any kind of rain, they don't drain, they don't do things that they ought to do. So to go back in and get a service done, then raise our fence, then then we can see what can we do. The problem that I've got where we're currently at is that they're getting ready to do a beautification of McElroy and Duck. So with trees and sidewalks and lighting and some park benches and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be about a 3-year deal because it's a grant. So when you have a grant, the money comes in 3 different deals, I guess is how this one works. And so I want to put a berm there is what I really want. I want to open up that fence with a chain link that's padded, and I want to put about a 6-foot tall berm where you can sit, lean up against, or walk around. We talked about having a walkway that goes all the way around, which would be really cool. And then open up that left field area once that beautification is done. Then you can look through and look at that. So we've got some supporters, alumni that want that done, and I think they're ready. But it doesn't make sense to do things twice. So we need to really get a sense of, okay, what's the field going to be first? I'm hoping that this field can get done at the end of this year. That would really help us, and then we can move forward with the other things. But I think for us, things are moving. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I want baseball to start their new deal because I think it's just going to help us evolve and move too. I don't want to lose Josh from being around him, because I like being around Josh and I like being around his staff and I like to be around his kids. But the reality is Josh needs a new stadium bad, and I know that. I feel terrible. You know, I mean, our stadium is pretty nice. Josh is at the bottom of the conference, and he needs that. And so I get priorities and where we stand and where we rank, and I don't mean that in a bad way. He's next. He deserves it. Him and track, I would say. Track needs an indoor, and there's some things out there, and but those guys need that stuff. I'm a team guy, so I know that we're gonna get what we should get, and that'll come.
Is it field turf you're looking at?
We've toyed around with turf. We've toyed around. You know, it's either going to be turf or a sand-based field. You know, man, I'm a grass guy. You know, but I also, you know, there's something about being able to have camps and tournaments and all this kind of stuff at your place where you can watch and not have to travel around. And so I wouldn't say we know that for sure yet, but I think we're throwing around both options.
With the whole unveiling of the locker room, I know there were videos online of the girls finding out and stuff, but how would you just describe the level of, you know, excitement and just the overall reaction to that?
Yeah, you know, man, you know, I'm 46, and some of these kids could be my kids, I guess. You know, if I started early, but the pure excitement. I was talking to Coach Boynton and his wife here today in the gym. She was in there with Mike, and they were running, and we were talking about that. He said, man, that was awesome. I said, you know, that's the reason I love to coach these kids, because they truly appreciate what they get. The reaction that I got to see being inside as they walked in is exactly what I'd hoped for. I know it's exactly what Mike and Ann had hoped for. I think that's the coolest thing, is to see Mike's face. Mike didn't want his name on that room, and I just felt like he should. You know, we had a locker in there. Mike wanted to surprise Ann to have her own locker in there, and I thought that was awesome. But you know, Mike and Ann are they're as selfless as anybody I've ever been around. Gracious. I mean, love OSU, love the underdog, if you will. You know, the people that they support here, it's crazy to think of that, you know what I mean? And, you know, supporting the band and the music school and softball and tennis, and that's just the tip, you know what I mean? They give to everything. And so I wanted Mike to have his name on there as well. I thought that was cool. But to see our kids react the way that they did, oh man, make your heart beat, you know what I mean? And I'm an emotional guy. I'm trying to hold that back at times, but it was really cool. It was cool.
Has any of the girls expressed any interest in going to play pro ball?
Yeah, I got a couple. Bayless has won. Shippy's been one. Bayless is one that I think wants to play for sure. Ships, you know, she's getting married. You know what I mean? She's got some things. This is in order pretty quick. So I'm not sure if that's still a dream or not. She really wants to be on the national team. So that's something that she wants. Those are the two that come to my mind, you know, at first. Those are the only two that have really asked me. That have talked, you know, about that. You know, we've got some issues in our pro league right now. Just kind of happened here in the last couple of days. I'm privy to some of that. I think it could be good. I hope it doesn't destruct that, or if it does, I hope it's able to restructure. I'm really hopeful that Major League Baseball will get behind us, because if they do, it's over. I mean, this game will grow exponentially like it never has. Because this game, as you go back and look at this stuff, we outrate the men's College World Series, and it's not even close. The problem is people don't advertise with us like they do for that. So that's the bottom line, and it's starting to. But our game is growing, and it fits in their slot right. It fits in their demographics right, and they know that. And so they are really trying to help us. We made some rule changes this past year to speed our game up, to keep it within 2 hours and 12. We've done that. We at the urgency of them, they asked us to really think about things. And so we've done that stuff. We're smart. I think we're a smart group of coaches across the country that wants our game to grow. And so I want this pro deal to work, but we really need, I think we really need Major League Baseball behind us like the NBA has done. And I think we could, I mean, I think it could be a regular event. I really do.
So you say those two. Do you see any more of them?
I don't know. Trying to look at my roster here. I think those are the two that I really see. I mean, some of the, you know, girls, they either really want it or they don't. You know what I mean? They're like, you know, that's the hardest thing about coaching girls too. As you get farther along, they're starting to think husband, kids, job. You know what I mean? And guys are like big leagues, and then all that other stuff can wait. You know what I mean? And so that's the difference that I've got. I've got to keep my older kids focused on what we want to do. That's probably maybe why I like to play the young kids too, because I can just kind of point at her and say, she's pretty good too. You know what I mean? I need you to be like her again. You know what I mean? You were her. I need you to be back at that. So I don't know that there's a bunch more on this team that really, because I think they would have told me. You know what I mean? I just don't see that yet.
Is Chanel Scott the only player from OSU?
Yeah, I don't. Shelby was drafted but didn't play. Well, she may have played for a year, but then kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to make it quick, if anyone wants to talk to the girls, can I have you guys come out now? Coach can keep going. I've got to get them sent out to get ready for practice here in a few minutes. So just as long as that, but you guys feel free to keep asking Coach questions.
You guys returned five of your top 6 hitters from last year. And can you just explain how important that is, especially with how tough the schedule is to start the season?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, we return a lot of at bats. We return a lot of quality at bats. You know, we were talking in the office the other night late. We were in there and we practiced late, and we sat in. There's a staff, and we started talking about the Florida series from last year, the regional there. We obviously played them 3 times or whatever it was, and I think when we look back in 2 years, we've already played 10 postseason games, not counting the Big 12 tournament. Now I think we played 3 there, so 13 games now is a lot. And in one of those years we didn't have the tournament. So for us, it's just like the football team and getting into a bowl game, right? It's the extra practice, it's the extra stuff that you get, but these are pressure packed. These are as big as you're going to get. And I think last year, I think when we went to Georgia, I think our girls played with the mentality of nothing to lose. And they had nothing to lose. I mean, there was a reason we hadn't been in one in 5 years, and they're just, I think in a way, we're kind of happy. You know what I mean? And we got beat the first game, and I looked at them and said, I didn't come here to get beat. This is not the way I drew this up, you know. And they answered back, Florida, I didn't have to give one talk. I didn't have to say one thing. I mean, there was already enough attention on me just being back there that I think that they got that, and to beat them that first time, or that game that we beat them, I think when I walked out there, I looked at some faces and I was like, whoa, they get it. You know what I mean? They get this now, and they were that close. And so I think you got a lot of kids here, Shippy, Bayless. I mean, somebody's gonna have to fight us to get the season done, and it may be a fight. I mean, because those kids do not want this to end. So those are the type of kids I want to coach. That experience you talked about, that's what it's all about. I mean, this is why I feel good about this team. I mean, I like the experience. I like we've been through this. We know what to expect. They know how to take my sarcasm now. You know what I mean? They know how to take me. They know how to not let things, don't hear exactly my tone, just hear what I said. And I feel like I'm good about, you know, if I upset them, I can go to them. I know that I've been around them enough now to say, I just made her mad. I need to go pick her up. So I think that goes both ways for me too, in gaining their trust and all that. So the experience of just the 2 years are really going to help us.
Coach, you talk about the new locker room. You guys are also getting new jerseys. You know, what do you think that says about like the direction the program's heading, you know, along with your new contract and all that? And do you have a favorite jersey that you're hoping to debut this season?
Yeah, you know, the jersey deal's cool. You know, Nike plays a big part in that. And it's kind of one of those deals where you gotta, it's kind of, to wear the best jerseys, you have to win. That's kind of sad in a way, but it's the truth. That's how Nike does it. I like it actually because it gives you incentive to want to wear the best stuff. So I wanted to get stuff. Last year, our first 2 years, we completely changed the whole deal. We finally looked like girls for the first time. Our jerseys fit us. Our pants fit us. They look good. But I wanted to change that, and I felt like we had won enough to get to the next one. So I know the Nike guys, and with Wes here, we contacted them, and they kind of told me no, and I was pissed. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, we're doing our part. I just wanted a couple year fix here, and I'm ready to get into the next one. So our season hadn't ended yet. Well, we beat Florida. We get to the Big 12 championship game on TV a lot. So I'm at the World Series, and I run into the Nike guy. He says, hey, want to talk to you about your jerseys. And I was like, this is how this works. So I said, I'm ready to talk. So he sat down and said, hey, here's what we want to do. And I said, awesome. And he goes, you do this, I'll do this. And I was like, I'm in. So we changed that again. We're in their really good jerseys and pants now. Changed our look. It's all branded better, if you ask me. And I know that'll make Jesse Martin very happy. Only one of them doesn't have the OSU brand. It's got the Marshall's badge, which I love, but apparently not everybody does. But my favorite one is probably the all white with black. It's sharp. It's clean. It's really good. I like the orange and white. I love orange, so I like that one too. Like it's on point. But the black one is different. It's unique. It's unique to itself. It's very soft black. It's just like an outline in black, and it's got a pinstripe down the leg, and then we have a pinstripe one that's sick. So it's not normal for softball. So it's going to kind of change that culture of that. So it looks good. It looks good. So I'm excited about all that stuff. And I just, I think the biggest thing for us is we're going to continue to evolve, and we're going to continue. I'm not going to sit back here and say, hey, we're set. We're never set. We got to keep moving. It's recruiting. It's branding your program and our program. And I think that's the most important thing. Did I answer all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Wasn't sure.
You spoke of Coach Boynton earlier, and obviously kind of similar. You guys aren't OSU guys, first time as head coaches here. How have you tried to help him at all in his first year as head coach here at Oklahoma State? Well,
he actually made his first interview, I think, at our game last year. It was awesome. And he came down in the dugout with his family, and he sat in there for a couple innings, and I thought that was really cool of him, because I mean, it's softball, he's a basketball coach, and shoot, here he is. And I talked to him a lot through text a lot of times, or I see him in the weight room. He's in there a lot more than me, but I talked to him a lot. What's crazy is when all this coaching change was happening, I didn't know Mike. Like, I knew him as the guy who worked out every morning, brought in this notebook, put it on the step mill or put it on the treadmill, and would run, talk on his phone, and be going over a game plan. I never introduced myself. He didn't. We just were in there just doing work, and then we go. So one day I'm running, and Keaton Page is in there, and I'm talking next to him, or we're talking there, and he goes, we were talking about, hey, I'm hearing it could be, Mike's got a chance. I'm like, who's Mike? He goes, it's the guy that's running in here. I said, that's him? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, holy cow. So from that, I told Mike that story. And so we kind of laughed about all that. But great guy, great dude. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of us here that coach that live and die with everybody's wins and losses here. He's no different at all. And I will tell you this, we didn't play here, but we are OSU guys. And and that won't change. We are when you know, I came here because one of the biggest things was Coach Holder. It's one of the biggest reasons I thought that he could help me be a better head coach. I can draw from his experiences. When I talked to him on the phone, I was like, man, this guy, he gets it. Like, he gets this. And it wasn't about anything else other than creating the best experience for your student athletes. And it's been my deal forever. I always know if your kids are happy, they'll do anything you ever ask them to do. And Coach Holder, that was the first thing he told me, and I was like, God, we align, and I think Mike aligns the same way. I do talk, to Mike. I've sent him bunches of texts, and I've tried to help him any way I can. I don't know if I can help him or not. He doesn't look like a guy who's in his 30s. To me, he's way beyond that. But he's gonna be here for a long time. I really think that. I really, I'm glad to see our crowds are coming back up. I feel like he's finally getting some support that he deserves for sure.
Now you let them use the softball field.
Oh yeah,
didn't
yeah.
you?
Oh yeah.
How'd that come about?
He just called me and said, "Hey, I want to have a softball game," and I said, "Come on." You know what I mean? Come on, you guys come out here anytime, and they've done it twice. And he's good to do on me. My son and I will go in the gym and shoot, and he never says a word. He talks to my son, and that means a lot to me. It's same with John Smith or Josh Holiday or Chris Young. And I can just go down, Alan and Courtney. Everybody here. This is a tight-knit group here. Larry Sanchez. I don't think I would. I can't imagine being anywhere else, to be honest. And I love these guys here, and I love the way we work together. We work with a guy named Brett Ledbetter. I'm not sure if you guys know anything about him, but if you don't, Brett's a human performance coach. He's one of the most respected guys in the country, and we've hired him or we brought him in here, contracted Brett, and we do a lot of head coaching or head coach collaboration, which has never been done here, and it's the most amazing thing. I've got to see some coaches be emotional, kind of open their hearts up to all of us and help each other out. John Smith, Mike Holder, being the two of those that are pretty open, pretty honest. So what better way to be able to learn?
Any challenges this year that make you have to go up against John Smith or any other coach?
No. That one will not happen again. I'm done with that. I hope, but I can be bought. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But right now, no.
Somebody for a school board, right?
That's right. I'll do that. I'm in.
Coach, you talk about Sam being somebody who you see you guys coming in. She didn't get to pitch last fall, did she?
She didn't pitch in the fall. No. Well, she pitched, but just not in games.
How is she coming back from that? How you guys see her kind of get caught back up?
Yeah, I haven't seen her miss a beat. She hasn't missed that beat. You probably need to ask our hitters. They can tell you that, but it's nasty. I'm expecting a lot out of her, and I don't mean wins. I just mean quality. The wins will take care of itself, but I'm expecting her to eat up a lot of innings. So she's been fine, had no issues.
In your time here, you've had a lot of transfer pitchers come in and be successful for you. Are you planning on doing that, year in, year out, or do you want to sometime get to where you can develop them?
Yeah, this is probably it for us. Unless we have an injury or something like that. We've used transfers the first couple years, but we're getting into our own recruiting classes now. We've got one that's coming in this next year. I guess we can talk about her because she's signed, but she's coming in this next year, and she's a big horse, a big left-handed horse. So we're excited about her and needs to get stronger, but it's going to happen here. These kids get stronger here, as you can see. So we're getting into our own kids. So unless something is a dire need or something happens, I don't think you'll see a lot of transfers here going forward.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you.